Hi, I'm Courtney. I'm your occupational therapist.
Hi, I'm Bernie.
Nice to meet you. So I'm going to be your occupational therapist during your stay here at inpatient rehab. And so basically, my job is to work with you to identify some activities in your life that are meaningful for you and promote your engagement in those activities. So if there's some barriers to those, we can kind of identify those together and find ways to work around them to make sure that you are engaging in the activities that you find meaningful.
Okay.
Do you have any questions about occupational therapy?
No.
Okay, so if you have any questions as we go through the session today, just feel free to ask them whenever. Okay, so today what we're going to be doing is the Canadian Occupational Performance Measure. We call it the COPM for short. And essentially what we do with this is identify some of those daily activities we were talking about that you find meaningful, that you may have trouble engaging in right now, and kind of identify your performance on those activities and then your overall satisfaction with your performance on those activities.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll just kind of discuss those together. And if you have any questions as we go through, just let me know.
Okay.
Okay. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to go through 3 different areas. Those are self-care, productivity, and leisure, and I'll kind of explain those more as we go through. But basically, what your job is to identify daily activities that maybe you would like to engage in, or you're expected to engage in, or you need to engage in, but that you can't do, or you're having trouble doing for some reason.
Okay.
All right. So
a lot I can't do.
Okay. So we'll get started. So the first thing we're going to go through is self-care activities. So in the first section, we'll talk about personal care. So that would be, bathing, getting dressed, things like that. So are there certain activities
That I can't do that I want to do?
Yes.
Well, being in the hospital right now, I feel like I'm pretty dependent on the staff there. I'm not really able to care for myself.
Okay.
I really wish that I was able to dress myself independently. That's not something I'm doing right now.
Okay.
Not that I have nice clothes to wear in the hospital, but
So are wearing nice clothes something that's important to you?
yeah, I just want to be independent. I just want to go home. I'm
Okay.
sick of being in this hospital. I've been here for too long, and I want to be able to do the self-care things. I kind of can, I feed myself, but
Okay.
I don't feel independent.
Okay. Okay. So the next section we'll talk about is functional mobility. So that's things like transfers, either indoors or outdoors. What does that look like for you?
Well, mobility's not great. I have osteoporosis, and recently I had I had an incident where I fell on the commode a little too hard, and so now I'm kind of trying to recover from that, working on some, hopefully want to get better at some transferring and stuff so I can more safely go to the bathroom and walk around and stuff.
Okay. So when you're walking around, do you feel pretty stable? Do you ever feel uncomfortable? Like that's something you want to work on? Or?
I feel pain. It's painful to walk around. My osteoporosis does not make that easy.
Okay. The next thing we're going to talk about is community management. So that's like transportation or shopping and things like that. What does that look like for you?
Well, not currently doing any of that right now. Although I do like to cook. So in the past, grocery shopping was something that was important for me. I'm not transporting myself independently. That's not going to happen.
And is that something that you would like to work on, being able to transport yourself independently through driving or public transportation?
Yeah, I guess I want to get around in the community. I don't know that driving is a big priority, though.
Okay. What about finances? Are you able to handle that aspect of your life on your own, or is that something that you would like to work on, or?
Not an area that I really want to work on.
Okay.
I think that I know what my finances are, and I feel like I'm in control of that. I have help with it, but it's wanted help.
Okay. So now we're going to move on to productivity. So the first section of that would be paid or unpaid work. What does that look like for you on a daily basis?
Paid or unpaid?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, right now in the hospital setting, I'm not feeling like I'm very productive. In the past, when I'm, out in the community, I like spending time with my grandchildren. So I guess I would consider that productive. I'm not employed, I'm retired. Yeah.
All right. How about household management? So cleaning, cooking, doing laundry. I know you said cooking was something that's really important to you.
I like to cook. I've taken care of the house. And now especially because my husband passed away 2 years ago, so I feel like even more so now that I have to take care of the house on my own. So sometimes that can be a burden, I guess.
All right. Great. So now we will move on to the last section, which is leisure. So the first section is about quiet leisurely activities, so things like reading books or doing crafts and things like that.
Quiet leisure.
Is there anything in that?
Yeah, I mean, I like knitting, I guess. It's something that I've done in the past in terms of quiet activities.
Is there anything right now that maybe is preventing you from knitting? I know you mentioned your osteoporosis is getting pretty bad, so any pain with that?
Yeah, I mean, I guess I haven't tried it that much being in the hospital, but maybe it would be something that I'd be interested in taking up again.
Okay. Any other quiet recreation activities, or we can move on to?
Yeah, we can.
Okay, so how about active recreation activities? So going on outings, traveling.
So I really used to like gardening with my husband. Ever since he died, I just, I don't know, it reminds me too much of him. So it is something that I did enjoy, but it's hard to do that now with my osteoporosis and because it was something we did together.
How about socialization? How does that look for you in terms of visiting with people? I know you mentioned you spend a lot of time with your grandchildren, talking on the phone.
I like playing cards. Yep. And I also, I like attending school events and stuff that activities that my grandchildren are participating in. So I think that's pretty social.
Okay. Okay, so now we're just going to review some of the things we just discussed. So in the self-care area, you talked about being pretty dependent with dressing and that's something that you would like to become more independent with, and that you're pretty independent with feeding, but that it's been kind of hard in the hospital. And then functional mobility, you did say that there was a recent incident with you falling, and so becoming more able to kind of get around and do some better transfers on the toilet, that's something that you've been having some trouble with.
Yeah, and I just don't want to it's just painful to move around for me right now, and if I can find ways to help, conserve my energy, make that less, it just feels like a chore to get around places.
Okay. And then moving on to community management, you said that grocery shopping was something that you used to do a lot for your cooking, and that transportation and getting around has become a little bit more difficult lately with the osteoporosis and the pain that you're experiencing. As far as productivity, being in the hospital setting, you're not feeling very productive, and you used to do things like gardening and spending more time with your family, which was considered productive for you. And spending more time with your grandchildren especially. And then as far as household management, cooking and doing a lot of the different things around the house has become difficult since you lost your husband, so you're feeling like it's a little bit more for you to take care of and for you to take on.
Yeah, and with my medical complications too, I just think that independent living has been more challenging, but it's a place that I want to get back to.
All right, and then leisure. You mentioned that knitting is something that you used to do a lot, but you haven't really had the chance to try it out since you've been in the hospital. And gardening was really important to you and something that you used to engage in a lot, but that it's been kind of difficult for you with the osteoporosis and used to engage in it a lot with your husband, so that can be difficult. And then finally, socialization. It seems like you have a lot of activities that you like to do to keep social, so playing cards and attending school events for your grandchildren.
Yeah.
So that seems like something that you'd like to maybe get back into.
Yeah.
Great. So is there anything else you'd like to add in any of those areas that we didn't cover already?
No, I don't think so.
No? Okay. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to go through each of those things we discussed, and I'll just list them off, and I'm going to have you rate their importance. So that's on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being not very important and 10 being extremely important to you. So we'll just go down the list. So the first one is dressing.
I give that a 7.
All right. Bathroom transfers.
That's a 10.
Okay. Walking around and just being able to transport normally.
Yeah, I'll give that a 7 too.
Grocery shopping.
8.
Okay. And then transportation, getting around. So using public transportation. You said driving wasn't.
Yeah, like maybe a 5.
Okay. All right. How about spending time with your grandchildren?
That's a 10.
Cooking?
That's 9. Yeah, it's important.
Okay. Other household chores like laundry and cleaning that you had mentioned.
I mean, I know I need to do them, but I just I don't feel motivated right now. It's really hard for me to find motivation to do a lot of these things.
Okay.
But I guess, is this how much I want to do them?
It's how important they are to you. So it could be something that you need to do, but if it's not important to you.
Yeah, I'm going to give them a 4.
Okay. All right. Knitting.
3.
Okay. Gardening.
It's a 7.
Playing cards.
9.
Attending school events for your
That's
grandchildren. Okay. All right. So looking at those activities after ranking their importance, what we're going to do next is identify 5 of those activities that are the most important to you, things that you may want to work on, and then we're going to rank them based on your performance in those activities and your satisfaction with your performance in those activities.
Okay.
So first what we'll do is we'll kind of go back through and decide which ones are the most important to you, something that you'd like to work on. So did any of those stick out to you? Would you like me to list them off again?
Well, I think in terms of, what needs to come first is the bathroom transfers. That is something that I know that I need to do to become more independent and to be able to leave the hospital.
Okay. Great. Another activity?
Being able to spend time with my grandchildren, going to their events, and also playing cards again with my friends. And what other high?
So let's see. Cooking was actually rated pretty high for you in importance.
Yeah, I'd like to be able to cook independently.
Other high ones were grocery shopping was a big one. And gardening was a 7.
I don't know if I'm ready to garden yet.
Okay.
But grocery shopping is something I want to be able to do as I need.
Okay. So I'll just show you right now we have here bathroom transfers, spending time with your grandchildren, playing cards, cooking, and grocery shopping. So those are the 5. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is we're going to rate your performance. So I actually have this card here to help, and you're going to rate how your ability to do these activities. So 1 being not able to do it at all, and then 10 being able to do it extremely well. So you can hold on to this, and I will just go through the 5 activities we discussed, and you can give me your rating on those. Okay, so bathroom transfers.
3.
Spending time with your grandchildren.
6.
Playing cards.
About a 7.
Cooking.
That's a 3.
Grocery shopping.
Also 3.
Okay. So now I'm going to give you this card, and this is your satisfaction with these activities. So 1 being not satisfied at all, and 10 being extremely satisfied. And based on your performance, even if your performance may be a little bit lower, so like a 3 for one of the activities, if you're satisfied with that, then you would rank that higher. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. So, bathroom transfers.
1.
Spending time with grandchildren.
4.
Playing cards.
5.
Cooking.
3.
And grocery shopping.
So how satisfied with how well I'm doing or how well I'm performing?
Right. So you ranked that as a 3, and how satisfied you are with your rating and your performance level on that activity.
Or how well I can perform it. Yeah, I'd give that a 5.
Okay. All right. So that's the end of the first part of doing the COPM. So I think we have some really good stuff here, and I'm going to go back and review this information, and then in our next session we can work on creating some goals and moving forward with these activities.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Do you have any questions?
No, you're
Okay.
lovely. Thank
It was
you.
really nice meeting you, Bernie. Looking forward to meeting you again.
Yes.
How do we do?